There has been a lot of talk online and in Star Wars Rebels about Ezra turning to the dark side. But is the show being a little too obvious about Ezra's possible descent to the dark side? Let's take a look at both Kanan and Ezra, our two main Jedi leads, and the possibility of either of these turning to the dark side. Let's start with the Star Wars Rebels episode Shroud of Darkness, where we see through Force visions created in all probability by Yoda, the temple guard telling Kanan that if they continue to fight, the rebellion will be crushed and he will die, and his apprentice Ezra will become a servant of evil. Of course, Kanan rejects the notion of Ezra falling to the dark side, and the temple guard continues to tell Kanan that the dark side pulls at him, it calls to him, and eventually he will be consumed by it. In the most recent teaser for Rebels, we see Maul standing beside Ezra, instructing him as he force chokes the seventh sister. Primarily this is an ability we see used by Sith or Darkside users, and Maul seems to sense that darkness in Ezra and will begin to draw it out. Even Yoda mentions that Ezra's abilities are growing, and with that comes danger. However, that scene cuts away, so if there was any further dialogue between Ezra and Yoda, we unfortunately won't get to see it, at this stage at least. So there is certainly a lot going for the theory of Ezra falling to the dark side, but I actually feel it has so much going for it, and the show is really forcing it down our throats to the point where I believe it may actually be a misdirect and that Ezra will not fall to the dark side. The main reason I believe he won't fall to the dark side is because of his bonds and friendships he has with the rebellion. And while Ezra would certainly be open to the influence from Maul in order to gain the power he needs to help save his friends from the Empire, it is these bonds that will help keep him grounded and prevent him from succumbing to the dark side. Now let's move on to Kanan, who is more likely to fall to the dark side than Ezra in my opinion. Nothing up until this point in the series would give any real indication of Kanan falling to the dark side, but while he was dueling with the temple guard, he did pick up a second lightsaber, and it was red, and he began to dual wield these red and blue lightsabers. I think this may be foreshadowing his future inner turmoil between the light and the dark. However, of course, we know Obi-Wan has, in a similar fashion, used a red lightsaber, so it may have been used primarily for how cool it looks rather than any deep meaning. But we did see Anakin use Dooku's, and we all know how that ended up. The way I could see Kanan possibly falling to the dark side is actually his desire and fight to save Ezra and protect him. It may be this very desire to gain the power to protect Ezra that would lead him to the temptation of the dark side. All the footage we have seen so far indicates Maul will be using Ezra and possibly taking him on as an apprentice, but I wonder, with the combination of witnessing Maul's manipulation of Ezra and Ahsoka being killed by Vader, which I think unfortunately will be the outcome of their duel. With Kanan witnessing Ahsoka's final moment and in his despair feeling hopeless and unable to help her, he may actually consider Maul as an ally in order to gain the knowledge and the power he needs to fight Vader. I know this speculation has been a little out there, and Maul joining with the Rebels to further his own goals wouldn't necessarily mean Kanan or Ezra would fall to the dark side, but I am interested to hear your own thoughts about which of Ezra or Kanan will fall to the dark side, or perhaps neither of them. Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with Star Wars theories, legends, canon, and news here at Star Wars Community.